We got a
Yes.
lot to talk about, but obviously the headline is the draft.
Yep.
So let's just start with our own teams. Just first things first. How are you feeling post draft for your Los Angeles Chargers of San Diego?
Very good. I think they did a maybe not magnificent job, but they did a pretty good job in my opinion. A lot of people I noticed when we picked Mr. Joe Alt at number 5 were throwing temper tantrums,
Hmm.
and I was sitting there thinking to myself, why is this such a bad pick?
Right. And I think I
I
said the same thing to you. Like
yeah.
when it was before they made the pick, when it was projected that they were going to go O-line, it was
Yep.
like, well, I mean, it's not a bad idea. It's never a bad idea to go O-line,
Yeah,
really. Like,
it really is not when you have Justin Herbert and everyone's like, "Why aren't we drafting receivers?" And I'm like, "Who cares?" Like as you pointed out, we got Lad McConkey in the
yeah.
second round. We have
And
Brendan Rice. We have
you even got Cornelius Johnson out of
yeah,
Michigan,
we
and
got
I think he's
Cornelius
going to be a
Johnson.
sneaky pick. I mean, he was a really
Yeah,
solid wide receiver out of Michigan, obviously a
I was
national
gonna say.
champion, and a connection with the head coach. Like,
hmm
it's not as though it was like you get one pick and then that's it,
I
right?
think that's how
And
people were treating it, which I thought was like so weird. I'm like, why wouldn't you take
yeah,
like
you're
we have
taking best player available too,
yeah, and we have
right? Like,
Rashawn Slater and Joe Alt as two of our offensive linemen who I believe will both be Pro Bowlers. Maybe Joe Alt, maybe
yeah,
not
I
his
mean, you
first
never
season,
know with
but
a
still.
rookie, but he's coming out. He's one of the top. I think he
I think
was the top ranked offensive lineman
he
prospect
was.
to
Yep.
that point. He was the first
6'9", like
lineman taken.
yeah, he was like
Like
6'9", 320 or something. He's
yeah, I mean,
insane.
he's coming out of Notre Dame. They know how to make them boys. I mean, it's just
Yep.
like it's
Yeah.
looking at the draft. I mean, you got a lot of great pieces in it. I
Mhm.
mean, you got Junior Colson. That's another Michigan guy.
Yeah, he's a good
Uh,
linebacker.
you got a couple. You got Brendan Rice, wide receiver
Mhm.
out of USC. Obviously, a target of Caleb Williams.
Yep.
So I think
He
you
was a good
get like
player.
yeah. I think it's like you did pretty much.
I
You
think what
understood
we
the
needed to
assignment, and then
do.
Lad
Yep.
McConkey. I think he's going to be a stud. Like he was
Yeah.
a stud at Georgia, and you
Mhm.
put him with a stud quarterback and Justin Herbert.
I was gonna
Like
say.
to me, it's like yeah. I think I don't really do grades necessarily, but there is an interesting post that I saw that we'll get to near the end here. Uh, and like if I were to give this a grade, it's probably like at the lowest. Excuse me, it's at the lowest, probably like a B.
Yeah.
But like that's probably just
I
because
I
well
gave
the
it an
Chargers
A.
were yeah right. I mean like the
Yeah.
Chargers are 5-12 or they were 5 and
I
12. So
I
it's
think
like
anything there's only
they
up.
need a lot of things, right? You lose
Yeah.
Keenan Allen, you lose Michael Williams. You don't know if Quentin Johnston knows how to catch a football.
We don't know that yet.
You don't. I mean, you lose Austin Eckler, so you
Mhm.
might have a hole at running back. Who did you picked up that guy out of Baltimore, right?
Yeah, it was J.K. Dobbins and,
Yeah, that's right. You guys are basically just the
we're
Ravens.
the
You're like the Ravens
the
running back.
Los Angeles Ravens. Yeah, I wanna
That's right.
see it's, J.K. Dobbins, I
J.K.
think,
Dobbins
and
and
then
something Johnson, right? I don't
or
know.
is it Gus Edwards, I think?
Or Gus Edwards. That's right. Gus the Bus.
Yeah,
I
Gus
think
the Bus.
I like Gus the Bus, and maybe I'm wrong to like him, but I don't know. I think his name is funny, so I
Yeah,
like
it's
him.
it's
That's pretty
J.K.
much my only
Dobbins
reason.
and Gus Edwards, the 2 running backs of the Baltimore Ravens are now on the
Right.
Chargers.
Technically, you also drafted Kamani Vital, running
Yes.
back out of Troy.
Mhm.
Any what is Troy? What are they like the Trojans? Because that's what Troy is. That's where the name comes from. The Troy Trojans. That seems like that would
That'd be kinda
fit.
funny.
That
That would
seems
be
like the
kinda
only
funny.
name they could have. What are they like
Troy
the
Mask
Troy anteaters?
uh,
It's a scary animal. If you're an ant,
that's the I don't want
the
that.
Troy sloths. The Troy.
I think they are the Trojans.
Okay, we're gonna
Yep,
go with that. But
because their mascot, T-Roy, is a Trojan.
ooh,
Very nice.
T-Roy, what a name. But I mean, as
Anyway,
again, like as far as
filling spots
improvement
is
of
what
the
we did.
team, I mean, like at this point, it really sort of depends how
They
well
do.
adjusted Jim Harbaugh is going to be to the NFL level, right?
Yep.
Like obviously he's going to be a decade removed of coaching in the NFL. A lot has changed since he was last a head coach for the 49ers.
Yeah.
And he's got a lot of pieces to work with. He's got a franchise quarterback.
Mhm.
He's got some young pieces on the offensive side. He's got some studs on the defensive side in Khalil Mack, in Joey Bosa. Like he's got
As long as they stay
plenty of
healthy.
pieces to be right, and like as long as they both stay healthy, especially Bosa.
Mhm.
But he's got the pieces, and
Yep.
I don't think you're in like you're not in a great spot in so much as you're in the Chiefs division, so you're probably not going to win that division.
No, I don't
But I
plan
don't
to.
know. I mean, like weirder things have
Better than
happened.
Yeah, I think we'll be better than 5-12.
Yeah,
I would
and
hope.
you're also the other caveat to it is you might be in the Chiefs division, but you're also in the Broncos division, and yeah, that's it's
And
not
the
good.
Raiders.
And well, I'll give the
Raiders
Raiders
are
credit. I'm not gonna break down Raiders draft just because I don't know and I don't care that much. But I do like their coach. I do like Antonio Pierce. He feels like a Raiders coach.
yeah.
Feels like the first real Raiders coach since like
In
original John Gruden, not the second running John Gruden.
Yep.
When he
Yep.
was like 100 years old and he didn't know where it was going, and then they fired him. And
Poor
that was
guy.
what a what a series of events that was.
Yeah.
It's weird that was like recent.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I remember all that going down, and like they're now 2 coaches after that.
Yep. That's
And that's
crazy.
what happens when you bring in that Josh McDaniel. God.
Yeah, that guy. Yep.
I
Don't want to
don't
talk
know
about
who.
him.
Yeah, don't want to talk about him. But
Mm-mm.
I mean, the other thing I'm just looking to. I mean, you bring in some guys in the late rounds that might be able to make an impact. Tareeb Still out of Maryland, cornerback. You got Justin Egwigby.
That's how I pronounce his name. Yep.
Defensive tackle out of Alabama. As far as I'm concerned, you draft defensive players from Alabama, they're
You're
probably going to be
set.
okay. Like you're usually not going to be like terrible.
Yeah.
But no, I mean like this was a really good draft.
No, and
And
that's what I said. I gave it an A, and people were like throwing temper tantrums when we drafted Joe Alt, and I was like, I genuinely think because that was the other thing. There was like 2 sides, and the main one was like, we need receivers. Like, who's Justin Herbert gonna throw to? And I was like thinking to myself, if the wide receiver class is so deep this year,
you're gonna
what like
find
we're
guys.
like so
Right.
what? We don't have Marvin Harrison. That's
Well, you weren't
fine.
going to get Marvin Harrison anyway.
I know he's going to
Like
the
he
Cardinals.
was not going past the Cardinals.
No.
He was constantly mocked to the Cardinals. All the insider sources were saying they wanted to take it.
Yeah.
He wasn't going past them.
Or it's
So,
like
if
people
you wanted
talking about
Marvin
like
Harrison
Malik
Jr., you were
Neighbors.
supposed to. Yeah, but again, like you
I don't.
picked after New York, right?
Yeah. Yep.
So it's like unless you wanted to use future assets when you're a team who just went 5-12, like you're not in the position to be trading up for a wide receiver who, I mean, I like Malik Neighbors. I don't know if Malik Neighbors is going to be good. Like I don't know Malik Neighbors like Marvin Harrison. The only thing you could say about that is at least he is like basically a steal. Like he's a guarantee essentially.
Yeah.
Like the other thing about all these other wide receivers, a lot of them are very talented, but you never know, right?
And that's what I'm saying. Like why waste number 5 on a receiver who could possibly flop versus who Joe Alt I think is going to be really good.
Yeah, Joe Alt was
Like,
the top-ranked offensive tackle.
Yeah, so why wouldn't
going
you
into
just,
the draft? So it's like,
why wouldn't you take?
Why would you take the second-rate wide receiver who's like basically second pick, right?
A gamble.
And a little bit of a gamble, right? As opposed to like securing that O line. I mean, your quarterback just got hurt. Like,
I know.
Like what kind of you're either going to send them like.
I think that's what people forgot too. Is Justin Herbert got injured from getting hit too much.
Like we said, and it's like you ended up just getting Ladd McConkey, who could have gone in the first round. And you do still. I mean, we made the joke earlier. You do still have Quentin Johnston, and
we have Josh
sometimes
Palmer.
guys.
Josh Palmer isn't half bad. He's not great, but he's decent enough.
Like it's not necessarily the greatest class, but it's you can work with it at the very least.
Without a doubt.
But moving along to the Detroit Lions. So the Lions, obviously hosts of the draft, so it was very exciting. Lions, I think they did a pretty good job. They had much less picks, but they attacked the parts of the team that needed to be attacked. So they double up on corners. They take Terrion Arnold. They trade up to get him. He's the best corner in the draft, according to a lot of people, outside of maybe Quinyon Mitchell. But he was the best corner on Alabama. And then they take Ennis Rakestraw Jr. out of Missouri, another corner. They bring in Giovanni Manu out of British Columbia, who they also traded up to get. They bring in Sione Vaki, who is this weird plug-and-play running back, safety, DB kind of deal.
Okay.
And then a Mekhai Wingo and Christian Mahogany, guard and Wingo tackle. So they
There you go.
basically just go trenches, secondary, and
Yep.
that's
That's
all I
it.
could ask for. Like I don't
Yep.
skill positions,
No.
not really a major need for the Lions. I
You
mean,
guys
you
are
look at
good.
that. What? Yeah, like we secured. I guess corner is technically a skill position. Is that how that?
I yeah,
Whatever. You
I understand your
secure
point.
the like. We went from, if you look at that NFC Championship game, we went from, in theory, having a starting secondary that included Kendall Vildor and I don't even remember some of these other guys' name. Cam Sutton, who is not playing football anymore.
No. No.
And we basically just replaced it all. Like we flipped it, and it
Yep.
reminds me like last year's draft. I mean, where you know going into the draft, people were like, well, the Lions, they got a good running back room. And
Yeah.
we just flipped it, and this past year is one of the best
Yep.
running back duos in the NFL.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's what's going to happen here, because not to disrespect Aaron Glenn, we don't know if he's going to be a good coordinator because he really hasn't had
Much
elite pieces. Like
I was
he's
gonna
gotten
say,
pretty unlucky the last couple of years, especially last year where basically everybody in the secondary died.
Yep.
And so he was dealing with, rookie Brian Branch, basically rookie Iffy Melanfonwu because he was getting
Yeah.
hurt.
Mhm.
And Hayden Hutchinson, the only really reliable force on the D line.
Yep.
So, like, I think they attacked the things they needed to attack. Your secondary is secured. I mean,
Oh,
I
yeah.
could go down the list of guys that we have in there that are going to threaten
And
the
even
pass
guys
game.
I was gonna say, even, like, you could, guys that weren't drafted too,
Right.
coming back and,
Yeah, that's
getting
true. I mean, it's like
know?
even like we go out, we get a Meek Robertson out of Las Vegas. We bring back Emmanuel Mosley. I don't know if he's going to
Mhm.
be okay, but
We'll see,
he's off of
yeah.
2 ACL tears. He only has 2 of them, so there's
Yeah,
no more of them to tear.
yeah.
And there was another one, Carlton Davis. Obviously, we go and
Yeah.
trade for him out of Tampa Bay.
Yep.
Like, it's a completely different unit. And this is just what Brad Holmes will do. If he identifies an area where we can improve, and in this case, it's the secondary, he can
Just
flip
hit
it like
that.
that.
Yep, just hit it.
And I mean, like, I think there's a lot of sort of project in, say, this Manu guy who is
Mhm.
basically being picked because of his measurables. Because
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw the highlights of this guy from
Mm-mm.
British Columbia. I mean, it's like he's playing with kids. Like he's like
Yeah.
6'5", 250 or something crazy. Maybe more than that.
Yeah.
He's got like less than 10% body fat. And like he's just manhandling people. Like it's like he doesn't even care.
That'll be fun
It's
to
like
watch.
Zach Edey in college basketball. Like he's
Yeah.
just kind of doing stuff because he's
Yeah.
big and he bullies people.
That's it.
But no, I mean, like, and then I guess on top of it, getting a little into the offseason stuff, they re-signed St. Brown, they re-signed Panay
Mhm.
Sewell, 2
Yep.
guys that are all pro caliber guys. I think
Yep.
St. Brown's at the least a top 5 receiver, if not straight up top 3, maybe number 1 in the league. And Panay Sewell is just a stud. Like he's just a killer. That's all he does.
Yeah.
Let's take a
That's it.
look what Armenian Man has to say. One more wideout, backup center, edge rusher, lines will be complete. I wouldn't disagree with that. I
think
wouldn't
that's a
really
good pick.
disagree. They seem to be putting a lot of faith into DPJ. They obviously extend him after trading
Mhm.
for him from Cleveland, and yeah, I think he caught like 3 balls. But yeah, I mean, I
Still though.
certainly wouldn't be upset if they go and grab another wideout. The thing
Yeah.
about center and edge, I don't know who else is available. Did Jadeveon Clowney get signed? I want to say he did.
I can look, yeah.
I want to say he did because he seems like he'd be the kind of guy that you can get on a 1-year deal. He was very productive, or maybe not very productive, but he was productive with Baltimore last year. And then as far as backup center, I don't know. I mean, like we have a lot of linemen on our team. He's a Panther. That's right. That's right.
I
The
was gonna say,
Panthers signed
looks
him.
like the
Oh
Panthers
well,
got him.
then it can't be that good because if they're
Well,
signing him, he must be real desperate.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, like these are the sorts of things too, Armenian Man, that can be acknowledged in a trade deadline, which is funny because I feel like I've said that a million times
But you're
with
not
this
wrong,
regime,
though.
and then we never do anything at the trade deadline.
And it can be solved if need be. But
Right, exactly. If the pass rush is such that we need to just go out and get somebody, and there's an offer we can't refuse, a Godfather offer. I
yeah.
don't doubt that Brad Holmes will take it. At the same time, we've seen it 3 seasons at this point. he really
Mhm.
doesn't make draft or trade deals at the deadline. I think the
No.
biggest deal he made in a trade, I don't even think it was a deadline move, was trading TJ Hawkinson.
Yeah.
And
That
that's the
that
only
was I think
that
that was
was
close to it, right? It
yeah, I don't
wasn't
remember when that was. Like, all I know
I thought
is
it
like
was
we traded TJ Hawkinson and then we started winning. I don't know if there's anything to say about that.
I don't know, but yeah, that
But
was close to it. Definitely not a trade
but
deadline.
either way, I mean, like for me, it's like, well, look, the Lions were basically a Josh Reynolds catch away from going to the Super Bowl.
Yep.
So like, yeah, you acknowledge some of the needs. You replace those corners. Like, I don't have anything particularly against Kindle Vildor. He
But
actually did better than one would expect given the situation. But it reminds me of an old, like maybe not an old phrase, but like
mhm.
you know you're good when the guys who used to start for you are your backups, right? Like
Yeah.
it was one of those
No,
things
it's true.
like last year when like we'd have to pull out Craig Reynolds, and
Mhm.
it's like 2 years ago or
You
3 years ago, Craig
start
Reynolds was one of our starters. Like
Yeah.
that's where we're
Yep.
at. Yeah. Here's the measurables on Manu: 6'8", 350 pounds, ran a 5 flat. I mean,
That's
like,
insane.
did he emerge from Hogwarts? Is he
More than
Hagrid?
likely.
Like,
Yes.
what the heck? How do you even get that big? I don't need like 350 pounds. That's like a half an elephant. Like, how much does an elephant weigh?
That's a great question.
How
Let's ask
much
Google.
does an elephant weigh? Okay, never mind. It's not half an elephant.
But
It's maybe like a quarter. No, it's not a quarter.
it's not.
It's like a baby elephant.
Let's see. What was his
Probably.
weight? 350?
He weighs 350. What's 350 divided or yeah, 350 divide or 8,800 pounds is how much an Asian elephant weighs.
Okay, let's do 8,800.
So divide that by 350. How many elephants
Ooh,
is Emmanuel
that's
Manu?
a lot of elephants.
Yeah.
I'm just
I
kidding.
mean, like, it's
It's like tiny. It is less. It's if you were to make it into a percent, it's about 3.9%. No,
okay, but he's
0.3%.
3.9%. That's like a foot. That's like a foot of an elephant.
Yeah,
I really dug myself a hole here. I
you
should
did,
stop
but
with
it's okay.
animal comments. Hey there, what you just watched was actually a clip from a larger show that we do every Tuesday night. What are you doing Tuesday night? Go ahead and hit the subscribe button and the like button so that you don't miss out on any more of our weekly shows every single Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Hope to see you there.